Okay, so I just woke up maybe about 30 or 40 minutes ago, and I did my morning meditation. And then I realized that this just might be a very good time for me to finally get this video out. So this is, it's kind of part 2 of my midnight ramblings, but it is also to tell you about my most recent bathtub ritual. So I am going to put a clip in here right now. I'm about to do my bathtub ritual, and I'm going to be putting in this chocolate fizzing bath bomb. So we will see how this goes. Okay, so the chocolate bath bomb turned my water kind of a brown color, a slight brown color. And then I put in some of this vanilla birthday cake from Philosophy so that I could have some bubbles. And there are my candles. And I have 2 drinks here, a glass of water. And then this is some pomegranate blueberry G2 with a shot of vodka in there. And so now I am about to get into this bathtub and reflect on getting out of the 2:30s. Wow, I'm really behind. Okay. And so you should have just seen my bathtub ritual. So if you remember, I do a bathtub ritual to kind of commemorate and to help me think about leaving the previous decade of weight behind. And so I talked about the first one that I did in my first Midnight Ramblings video. That was to celebrate getting out of the 240s, and it didn't exactly go the way that I expected it to go. So now this is the second one, and it was supposed to celebrate getting out of the 230s. However, I realized that it's also time for me to celebrate getting out of the 220s. So I went ahead and I combined getting out of the 230s with getting out of the 220s. And so that is what my most recent bathtub ritual was all about. And this time the results were very different from what they were the first time, in a good way. This time I actually did, I had a whole bunch of NSVs, things that I was thinking about, really happy thoughts, and I really felt very good and very grateful and just very happy to be where I was. And that's very different than how I felt in my other video, because in my other video I had spent most of that time in the bathtub blaming myself for being back in the position that I'm in now, for regaining all of my weight back again, and then also blaming myself for not being able to forgive myself. It's a double whammy there. And so this time, as I was in the bathtub and I was happy and I was grateful, and I just thought, well, did I really forgive myself? And I searched my mind to try to see if there was any if there was any blame there, if I was still torturing myself, basically. And I couldn't find it anywhere. It wasn't there. And I was like, oh, what, when did this happen? And, it's kind of like how if you're looking for something and you can't find it, the easiest way to find it, number one, is to either stop looking for it or start looking for something else. Because usually once you give up looking and then you start looking for something else, you find that first thing, but then you don't find the newest thing that you were looking for, if that makes sense. So it's like I started focusing on other things, and I didn't focus on trying to forgive myself. I just let it be. And then when I turned back towards it, I realized that somehow I had already forgiven myself and I wasn't even trying. I think a lot of it has to do with the meditation that I've been doing every day and the daily gratitude practice. And this thing about work, which is something else that I talked about on one of my previous update videos. The fact that I really don't like my job at all. But doing this gratitude, I had identified 3 things about my job that I actually do like. And so I have been focusing every day on just those 3 things instead of focusing on the 100 things that I don't like about my job. And I just recently found out that they're going to take away one of those 3 things that I love about my job. And at first I was really upset once again at myself because I realized that I have spent so much time, several years actually, being so annoyed and unhappy with my job. And I hadn't spent enough time being grateful for those 3 things. And if I had have done that, then I would have had more time to appreciate those 3 things. And now one of them is being taken away, and it's like I feel like I haven't had enough time to appreciate the fact that it had existed in the first place. And I realize that that's true about everything. It's true about so many things in life, like especially our health. You know, we never pay attention to our health until we don't have it anymore. You know, this pain that I have in my foot that I've talked about on my most recent update video, and how, you know, the years that I didn't have pain, of course, I wasn't grateful for the fact that I didn't have pain, because it was like, I didn't have pain. It never occurred to me that later there would be a time when I wished that I could go back to the time that I didn't have pain. I'm not whatever. I'm not sure I said that very well. The point is that I want to spend more time being grateful for things right now while I have them. And I feel like I don't have time to spend beating myself up. I have better things to do. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to torture myself. I don't want to beat myself up. I have too many other real things to worry about instead of beating myself up for things that happened in the past. And so I think that's what happened. You know, this is the thought that occurred to me in the bathtub, because I didn't realize that I had forgiven myself until I was sitting there in the bathtub and I was reflecting. And then I was trying to figure out, how did it happen? And then I came to, and I realized all the things that I just said. And also, it's like, how can I not be happy about what I see in the mirror? Or, something that I'm going to be talking about in an upcoming video. I'm about to size out of every single thing that's in my closet. You know, imagine that. You know, a lot of people have all these different sizes in their closet from all of these years. Well, I'm almost at the point where there is nothing else in my closet that I can wear. In my entire closet. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And how can I not be happy about that? It's like, yes, of course, I still want to get below 200 pounds, but it's no longer, of course it's important to me, and of course it's kind of my focus, but not exactly. I don't wake up every day saying, man, I can't wait till I get below 200 pounds, and all I'm trying to do is whatever I can do to get below 200 pounds. No, that's not true. It's like, yes, I want to get below 200 pounds, and I will be happy when I get to that point. But I'm happy right now, and I'm focusing on where I am right now, and being happy here. And then when I get there, I'll be happy there too. And so, yeah, it was a great experience this time in the bathtub. Okay. Sorry, I keep moving this camera around. I'm kind of fidgety, and so I keep like changing the angle. So the second thing that I actually want to talk about is something that I started to talk about in my previous Midnight Ramblings video, which was the idea of maintenance and how I said that I'm in maintenance right now, that I'm calling maintenance. And so I've been thinking about that, and so I want to talk about that a little bit more. So I sat down and I thought once again about all of the successes and the failures that I had had in the past. Because I realized, if everything happens for a reason, there has to be a reason that I tried and failed so many times. That there has to be some lesson that I was supposed to learn that I never actually learned. And if I don't figure out what it is, then I'm going to be doomed to repeat the same failure this time. And so there are certain things that I had definitely learned from the past. It's like every single time I failed and started again, I got better at meal prepping, which is why I'm very good at it now. I got better at tracking, which is why I'm good at it now. I got better at eliminating carbs. I mean, it's really kind of a way of life for me, and it really has been for several years. Now, I'm not saying, because, of course, I just recently, a few years ago, regained a bunch of weight. But that was because I was ignoring everything that I knew because I was trying to eat away my pain, which is different from just my normal everyday living, if that makes sense. It's like it had become a part of my life to eat low carb, and that's what I would do. But then I was in so much pain mentally and physically that then I would just decide to eat because I didn't know what else to do. Mentally I didn't know what to do, and physically I just, I was in so much pain that I couldn't do anything. And so I chose to eat. So So one of the things is that, okay, so I have gotten very good at certain things. And, that is why, right now I'm very good at those things. I think you can see my hand. Let's see. Okay. So that's why I'm very good at those particular things. So now it's like, okay, so because obviously that still wasn't good enough to keep me from regaining my weight the last time that I gained my weight. And so I was thinking once again, okay, why all the times I'm looking at all of the times that I actually lost a significant amount of weight, and not the times, there were a million times that I started a diet on Monday and I was off the diet by Friday, and I might have lost 5 pounds or 10 pounds or 15 pounds or something like that. I'm not counting any of those times. I'm looking at the 4 or 5 times in my past where I did everything that I was supposed to do. I consistently did it for at least a year, and I lost 50 or more pounds. So, which means that the fact that I was able to consistently do it for a year or longer means that I really had the right mindset. And so I wasn't thrown off track by little things. So what I'm saying is that all of those times, I already proved to myself that I have the ability to be able to stay on track for long periods of time. And the thing that caused me to get off track all of those times was some major life event that I did not expect. Every single one of those times. So it never was, I went to Vegas and I got off track, and when I came back home I couldn't get back on track. Or I had a box of donuts and then I couldn't stop eating donuts or something crazy like that. Like, it never was food that made me get off track. Never. And so, number one, that makes me believe that this time it's not going to be food that makes me get off track. So what I mean by that is I know that I'm one of those people who I can go on vacation and I can get back on track, and it doesn't throw me, it doesn't cause my diet to end, if that makes sense. Or I'm the type of person who I can go out to eat with friends, or I can have little treats here and there, and it doesn't make me then revert back to, eating all the carbs or whatever. That's just something that I have learned about myself from all of my past successes and failures. I think it's important to examine your successes and failures and make sure that you've learned from them. So that's why now I don't believe that it is imperative for me to eat perfectly 100% of the time, all the time, and to eat perfectly when I'm on vacation, because that was never what derailed me in the past. So I don't believe that that's what's going to derail me now, number one. So that's why I think it's safe for me to try to live in a maintenance lifestyle now. The other thing is that the thing that did derail me in the past was being unexpectedly blindsided by something. So, I'm not going to talk about all of the significant things. I'm not going to talk in detail at all. But, a horrible breakup or losing my job, which I have lost my job by surprise several times in the past. And each time, I totally lived alone. It was my responsibility to pay my rent and to pay my car payments and my student loans, because I had student loans for a very long period of time. I'm 45 years old and I only paid off my very last loan 5 years ago. And so the fear of not being able to make ends meet, when I had to have my hysterectomy, and then the depression that followed from that because, I had it pretty young before I had a chance to have any kids. And so that blindsided me. And so all of these different things, when they happened, I didn't know how to handle them. And so then the only way that I knew was to turn to food. And the really weird, spooky thing is that it seems like every single time I actually succeeded in losing a significant amount of weight, literally every single time, some big life event happened that then caused me to regain it again. Like within a year. Like it never was, I lost weight, and then 5 years later, something happened and I regained the weight. It was always around the 1 year mark, or 1 year and 6 months. I mean, literally, it's spooky actually when I think about it. It's almost scary. It's like, I'm kind of afraid to lose weight because I'm afraid that about a year from now, something really big is going to happen and blindside me again, because that's what always happens. And then, of course, the very last time that I had lost weight, it was my injury that blindsided me and then, caused me to regain my weight. So, what do I need to do this time then? What lesson have I learned? Number one, life happens. Things are going to happen and they're going to blindside you, and there's no way that I can anticipate exactly what this thing is going to be that is going to come up next. And so I need to be working on what are my mental strategies so that the next time it happens that I don't flip out and eat everything in my house. And so that is why I'm working on gratitude. That's why I'm working on mindfulness. That's why I'm doing the meditations, is because I'm trying to change the way that I think and change the way that I see problems and adversity and stress. But if I change the way that I see these things, it also will change the way that I handle them. And so when they come up, then I won't handle it by eating food. And so to me, that is the most important thing that I need to be working on right now, because I really have got the other things all worked out. And so that's why I'm putting myself in maintenance right now, because I've already done all these other things before. And so I don't need to focus on them. What I need to focus on is living my life every day, right now, the way that I plan on living my life forever. And so I think this also helps with my mental mindset, if this makes sense. It's like, I don't want to have it in my mind that, okay, when I get to my goal weight, now I can do this and eat that. Or when I get to a year out, now I can, I don't know, drink alcohol or something like that. It's like all of those things that I don't want to push anything off to the future. And that's just for me. Like I said, based on my history, I know that I don't need to do that, because for me, well, I don't need to do that. And I think that it's better for me every day to feel like I'm not on a diet. Every single day, I'm just eating the way that I'm going to be eating for the rest of my life. And the funny thing is that once I give myself that permission to be able to eat whatever I want to eat based on a maintenance lifestyle. So maintenance doesn't mean that I'm allowed to have donuts every single day, because you can't maintain your weight by having donuts every single day. So that's not what I mean. What I mean is, how do I plan to live in a way that I will be maintaining my weight? And in the beginning, I will be losing weight because I have so much weight to lose, that this this way of eating will make me lose weight in the beginning. And then later, it will be the same thing that will be helping me maintain my weight. And so what I was about to say is, the thing is that once I gave myself permission to have whatever I wanted, I realized that I didn't want those things at all. And I love the idea that there's nothing in my mind. It's like, okay, yeah, I don't want the donuts. I haven't had donuts yet, and I love donuts. I occasionally think about it. It's like, I'll be like, I wonder if a donut will make me sick. I wonder if I can eat donuts. And I'll think about it, and it's like, I don't need to try that today. Maybe next week. And then I don't remember next week. But then maybe, several weeks will go by, and it's like, oh yeah, I haven't tried donuts yet. I wonder how donuts will make me feel. And then it's like, next week. Maybe I'll try donuts next week. And then next week never comes. And I think it's because I am giving myself permission to have it. It's because I know that I can have it, that then I decide that I don't actually need it. And so even though I'm living in a maintenance lifestyle right now, there's still so many things that I haven't even had yet. Like, I haven't had a cookie yet. I haven't had cake. I haven't had donuts. When I was in Vegas, I did that video where I showed you all the things that I ate in Vegas, and how every day I had food for one meal that was like catered food. And they had little desserts there each time. And every time I would walk into the room, it's like, okay, first I'm trying to see, okay, what's the protein? Okay, the protein is chicken. And then I would glance at the desserts, and it's like, ooh, those desserts look good. Maybe I'll have one. But then by the time, and I didn't put it on my plate at first because I knew that I could go back for it later. But of course, by the time I'm trying to get through my chicken, and maybe a bite of pasta or one bite of chips or something like that, I'm so full that it's like, oh, I don't even think about the dessert. And it actually never even occurred to me to just take some and put them in my purse, which is a good thing. But I could have done that, and it didn't even occur to me. Because it was like, because I knew that I had permission to eat it, I realized that I didn't need to eat it. Because there was nothing in me that needed to rebel or needed to treat myself, because I knew that I could if I wanted to, and I realized that I didn't want to. So that is the way that I'm trying to live right now, is that I'm also trying to focus on what makes me actually feel good. Certain things don't make me feel good, and certain things don't make me feel good at certain times. So I work from home, and I have learned that, I've had ice cream. So I've had enlightened ice cream, I've had Halo Top ice cream. I haven't had regular ice cream. But I have learned that eating some while I'm working does not make me feel very good. I don't know if it's because it's in the middle of the day and I still haven't had much food in my stomach, or I don't know. But if I choose to have ice cream, it needs to be in the evening after all my meals are done. That's when I feel the best. And so it's like, okay, so now I know that. And so I've started paying more attention. Losing It For Me 42 had talked about this in a previous video, about paying attention to how she feels. I think she said she was paying attention to how she feels before she eats. I mean, I think she's talking about paying attention to how she feels before she eats. I can't remember if she said it was also after she eats, but I'm paying attention to how I feel after I eat certain things, just so I can make sure that it's something that I should have in my diet. So I'll eat it, and then I'll think about, how did I feel after eating that? How do I feel after eating yogurt? How do I feel after eating cheese? How do I feel, after having a glass of wine? And I'll use those to help me figure out what is going to be a part of my diet and what's not going to be a part of my diet. But I don't want the choice to be made based on what I think I should and shouldn't eat. I want it to be based on how I feel and how I want to feel. Okay, sorry for stopping my video in the middle. It is a few hours later, and I stopped talking because I felt like I might have been repeating myself, and I wasn't sure where I was going to go next. And now I just listened back to my video, and there's so much more that I could say, but I'm not, because it's already so long. But basically, my point is that for me, what I'm focusing more on is the mental aspect. And when it comes to food, I am trying to eat right now. What I'm eating is the same thing that I plan to be eating a year from now. Now I know, there's a difference between your plans and what's actuality. I'm constantly going to be evaluating, how do I feel? And the food that I eat is going to be based on how I feel, and not how fast I can lose weight or trying to get to a certain number. I do want to lose weight, but I believe that is just going to happen by me tracking my food and doing my meal prep and doing all of those things. And so it's like, that's automatic. My focus is on the mind stuff, so that when something unexpected happens in my life once again, this time I'm going to be ready to handle it in a healthy way. Okay, bye.